What is happening, guys? Back at you with another video. So, A Nightmare on Elm Street, the first original movie that came out back in 1984, has hit the big 4-0. That's right, it's celebrating its 40th anniversary. Such a big milestone going on. So, in honor of that anniversary, I wanted to do a video, and I was going to do a ranking, but I already did a full ranking of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, all of them. About a year or two back, I did a full ranking video. So, if you're actually interested in checking out that video, I'll leave a link to the video in the description below. But I was thinking, what idea can I do for this video? What is Freddy Krueger known for? And one of the things he's known for is his kills. And when it comes to Freddy Krueger, he knows how to kill. He has such creative kills. He uses a lot of one-liners and when he's doing some of his kills. It's such iconic the way that Freddy Krueger does everything he does in the movies. So it is said that Freddy Krueger has a confirmed 85 kills throughout the whole Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. But the question is, what are his best kills? So in this video, I'm going to actually begin off a list of the top 10 kills. Now, this won't necessarily be in any particular order. This is just, in general, what I think are the top 10 kills of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Whether it be some of my personal favorites, whether I think they are the best kills in the franchise, whether they just have a sense of creativity that the other kills don't. This is just, in general, the top 10 kills, in my opinion, of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise and top 10 kills that Freddy Krueger did. And kicking off this list, why don't we start at the beginning with one of his very first kills in the original 1984 movie. And that's going to be Tina when she is being dragged across the ceiling, where she's just all bloody. There's blood going across the ceiling. And one of the things I like about this kill is that the use of practical effects, the use of practicality in this movie, to where they had this sort of rotating sort of room and it would go upside down. Tina was actually on the ground while you see Rod in the corner, who is like, he's trying to reach up, but actually, in fact, Rod is actually the one that's strapped to the ceiling and going upside down, actually pointing down towards Tina. Tina's on the floor. So just the use of practicality with this kill definitely makes it a great one in the franchise. And just what they're able to do with this, just the horrific scene that we get, especially with this one being one of the first kills that we ever see Freddy Krueger do. Just the fact that you don't even see Freddy, so like Rod is just witnessing Tina being dragged across the ceiling, blood going everywhere, spewing everywhere, and you don't even see Freddy Krueger like actually attempting or visually see him doing this kill. So the fact that Rod is just seeing this happen in front of his eyes, and it's just the way that they use this kill to just set up the rest of the kills in the movie and just set up this movie, it was awesome and amazing. And we get to one of the kills that gets talked about a lot in this franchise, and that's going to Dream Warriors. We're going to go to the Jennifer kill, and that is right, with his iconic line that what he says in this kill. This kill gets talked about a lot in the among fans of the movies, that this is probably one of their top favorites in the franchise, or one of the best ones in the franchise, best kills in the franchise. And I gotta agree, this is definitely within the top 10 of the best kills in Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. To see way that Freddy kills Jennifer. He grabs her, he makeshifts himself out of this TV that she's watching. The way that he uses that against her, like she's watching TV, how she says she was studying because she wants to become an actor, and just the mental toll that Freddy does, that the mental trauma that he does to actually use something against her that she likes and use it against her to actually kill her. And it's just creative in a way that he just pops out the TV, he's like makeshift TV, and it looks kind of funny, but the use of practicality also too, his head pops out, the mechanical arms pop out from the side of the TV, and he has his clawed hand. He grabs Jennifer, picks her up, and just slams most of her body within the TV, breaking the TV, of course, and she gets killed by the TV itself. Just like I was saying, the mental trauma that he used to kill Jennifer, to use something against her that she liked, or in a sense that she liked, or she was wanting to use that against her, it's insane, and it's awesome at the same time. Let's move on to the fifth movie with Dream Child. Now, this is not necessarily one of my favorites in the franchise, but I gotta say, it definitely has a gnarly kill in this movie. We go to the kill that happens to Dan when he's trying to drive, or he's actually driving on the motorcycle, and just the way that this scene plays out, it's like gnarly, and it's like the way that it just shows Freddy Krueger, like he's makeshifting this motorcycle, and there's wires and mechanized things going on in this scene, to where he's like embodying himself within Dan, and like Dan turns into this I don't know how to describe it. It's like this mechanized thing, and like the wires infuse into his body. They go through his body, and he just becomes this mechanized machine thing engulfed into the motorcycle itself. And just, with that, he crashes and all that. So just the design effect on this is awesome, and just the way that it plays out to where he becomes this little mechanized thing, and just the mechanics behind it, and it's just interesting overall. That's why I put it within the top 10. And we go to the sixth movie in the franchise with The Final Nightmare, Freddy's Dead. I know this one is, regarded as probably one of the least liked in the franchise, but I think it still has a pretty good kill here. And I'm talking about the kill with Carlos. The way that Freddy uses creativity with this kill. Like, I won't say it's necessarily a favorite, but I think just the creativity behind this kill is very interesting. To where, Carlos is hard of hearing. He has to use a hearing aid to be able to hear, and just the way that Freddy kills Carlos, to where he uses that against him. There's another kill where he uses something against the victim, to his advantage, and he takes the hearing aid, he like enhances it to where Carlos could hear every single sound, like pins dropping to water dripping, and it's just engulfing his hearing, and you can like see he's like in agony, he's being tortured almost in a sense, in a way that Freddy Krueger just defeats the final blow, to where he uses his claw hand against a chalkboard, and he's like having fun with it. He's like rubbing his hand against his chalkboard and all that, and he's just having a blast and having fun with it and stuff like that. And then just the agony and torture that you see Carlos go through, and you see his head being enlarged, and it's like taking a toll on him, and you see his head that he finally explodes. His head finally explodes. The hearing aid pops out of his ear and all that, and you see Freddy Krueger catch the hearing aid, and it's like he uses his one-liner. He's like,
"Nice hearing from you, Carlos."
it's a funny kill, I'll say. It's definitely a funny kill, I gotta say. So that's some of the reason why I would put it into the top 10. Go back to the original 1984 movie, and I gotta go with the Johnny Depp kill scene with this one. Just the way that they filmed this scene, the way that they developed this scene, to where he's being dragged into his bed. Freddy Krueger drags Johnny Depp, into his bed, and then all you just see after that is a pool of blood, just a rush waterfall of blood just spew from his bed. And it's just gnarly, and just the way that they were able to shoot this scene, to where it was just horrific and disgusting. And even in that scene, the coroner, who's supposed to be used to something like this, or used to blood and all that stuff, even got sick. It was being said how the coroner even got sick, that he's been sick for and puking and all that stuff because of how horrific the scene was. And this is just iconic. It's just an iconic kill scene from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. So I definitely had to put it into the top 10. We go back to Dream Warriors, and this one is probably going to be one of my top favorite kills in all of Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, and that is going to be the Puppet Master Marionette kill, where we have one of the victims who's in the asylum, or the hospital ward, with the rest of the group of kids in the Dream Warriors movie. And the way that Freddy Krueger, another kill where Freddy Krueger uses some creativity and uses something against the victim to kill them. They had this kid who was, making all the puppets and the marionettes and all that. And to be able to see Freddy Krueger first off, he becomes one of the puppets that the kid made. And then he summons the kid, basically cutting out his tendons from his body and using the tendons as the strings to puppet him, to make him look like he's sleepwalking when he's not really sleepwalking. But the way that he uses the tendons as strings of a puppet to puppet him through the hallways of this hospital ward, and go to the highest tower. And you see him in the sky, see all the group of kids, they finally see him, they're like, see him in the sky kind of, and all that faded. And you just see him like dangling the strings like that, and you just see how the kid is like, he finally cuts the tendons, cuts the strings, and you just see the kid just fall to his death. It's horrific in a way, and it's insane, really. Honestly, it's one of my favorites in the franchise. That's why I definitely put it within the top 10, because it's just, to me personally, I think it's definitely one of those top 10 type of kills. Let's go back to Freddy's Revenge, the sequel to the original 1984 movie. This one I gotta go with the Grady kill. To start off with this one, you have Jesse who goes to Grady. He's talking about his problems. You know, he's suffering from Freddy Krueger invading his nightmares and trying to control him and all that. And so he stays at Grady's house. And the thing is that how Freddy Krueger comes to Jesse, the way that Freddy Krueger slices Jesse open and just pops out of Jesse, it's so horrific. It's such a horrific, disturbing scene to just see him slice Jesse in half and just pop out of Jesse, and then you see Grady trying to get out. The door's locked though, and his parents are on the other side, and Grady's scared. He's what he just witnessed to what happened to Jesse. He's horrified. He's trying to get away, and then you just see Freddy Krueger just slowly come at Grady. Finally, pick him up against the door, stab him, and then slice him up and all that. And it's just an intense scene. You even see how some of the claws go through the door and all that. So it's just an intense scene overall. Just the way that they shot this, to where starting off, just have Freddy Krueger pop out of Jesse like that was horrific to see. Have Grady witness that was horrifying to him, and just have Freddy Krueger slice and dice him, that was insane. And we go to one of my favorites in the franchise with the movies. Number 4, Dream Master. This one is actually a favorite. And the kill that I'm going to go with in this movie is going to be the Debbie kill. And this is a very disgusting kill. A very disgusting scene, I gotta say. To where Freddy Krueger comes to Debbie. Basically, the way that he, first off, breaks her arms. That is horrifying. You can hear the actual break. It breaks her arms. But not only that, her arms come apart. They're flopping around. You see that. And they just fall off to her. And they reveal cockroach legs. Another thing that Freddy was doing to use something against the victim. He does that a lot, and it's the mental toll, it's the mental trauma that he uses with his creative kills in this, to where she hates cockroaches, she hates bugs and all that. So to use that against her and to be able to kill her, where he turns her into a cockroach, basically, it's just the use of this scene, just the way they shot the scene, and just disturbing and horrific and disgusting at times. She gets trapped into one of the roach motels, and you see him just grab this roach motel. She's in there. You just see him crush it, spilling out guts and all that. His one-liner, he says, you can check in, but you can't check out. So it's a very interesting kill. It definitely is. I think it's at least decent enough to be able to make it into the top 10. Let's go ahead and finish off with Dream Warriors, going back to Dream Warriors. And the kill that I'm going to go with, there's actually 2 kills I'm going to go with this one. I got to say, Dream Warriors is probably the movie that has some of the best kills in it. Just the use of creativity that Freddy Krueger does, mental toll and mental trauma that he does in this movie is honestly interesting to see. The way he kills the kids and everybody in this movie. But the kill that I'm going to go with in this one is going to be kind of for a different reason why I put this one into the top 10. Is because this one is a heartbreaking kill. And that's going to be Freddy Krueger finally kills Nancy. Now, whenever we saw this, it was kind of a heartbreaking kill to kick off this kill. Basically, the Dream Warriors basically thought that they defeated Freddy Krueger. They thought they were kind of celebrating. They were kind of happy. It was like, it's over. It's finally over. And then, Nancy's dad finally comes into the light. Nancy sees her dad, he's saying how he's crossing over. She tries to go in for a big hug to give him, and that's when it turns out to be a trap. It's a trick, all done by Freddy. Turns out that Freddy Krueger is impostoring her dad. He grabs her and then he ends up killing her. So this is really just comes down to just being a heartbreaking kill to why this one makes it into the top 10. It's sad how you see Kristen, she sort of has Nancy's dead body, basically saying how I'm going to dream up something nice for you and all that. So it's just a heartbreaking scene, really, because you kill off your ultimate final girl in this franchise. So it's just heartbreaking to see that. But the other kill that I'm going to go with in this movie of Dream Warriors is going to be the Terran kill. This one is an interesting kill to where, like I said, I'm going to keep saying this. The way that he just uses mental trauma, the mental toll, to use something that is familiarized with you, that use it against you. And that's the same thing exactly what he does with Taryn. She's a recovering addict, and she is, she's a badass in this movie too. Whenever she goes into her Dream Warrior state, she's a badass. They show her how she's, start off this scene, she's walking down a dark alley, And just the way that I like how on the wall I also said Freddy and Taryn with the heart and all that stuff. That was kind of funny. But she's walking down this dark alley. Freddy Krueger pops out. And she's trying to kick his ass. She's trying to kick his ass, and she kind of does it too. It looks like she might be able to defeat Freddy and stuff like that. And Freddy's all weak. He's pretending to be weak and all that. He's like saying, when he pops out his hands, and you see how they have all the syringes on his fingers, and like he gives off his one-liner. He's like, "Let's get home," and he just shoves those syringes right into her arms and just gives her an overdose. And another line that he uses in there, he was like saying, it's an iconic kill. It definitely is. I think Dream Warriors probably, when people think of the kills in Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors has to be up there for some of the most iconic kills. And it's being said in this list. A lot of them have hit the top 10, at least for me personally. That, in my opinion, are within the top 10 of the best kills of Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, Freddy Krueger's best kills. So it just shows to you how iconic Dream Warriors is within its own right. Also with the original 1984 movie. When it comes down to it, 1984 movie, definitely one of my favorite horror movies. I love Dream Warriors. I like Dream Master. Dream Master was probably my favorite as a kid. And, I just love this franchise overall. So to be able to celebrate 40 years with this franchise is awesome and amazing. I wonder what it was like to actually be there that whenever the original movie came out, to see that movie in theaters. I wonder what it would have been like to be able to see that movie in theaters like that. So for this franchise to be able to hit 40 is amazing. It's iconic. It's an iconic franchise, iconic horror character of Freddy Krueger. He's one of my favorites. This franchise is one of my favorites. So I love this franchise. So that is going to do it for this video. But I definitely want to hear from y'all down in the comments below. What are the best kills in your opinion? What are your favorites in the franchise? But I definitely like to hear y'all thoughts on that. But that's going to do it for all for this video. Hopefully y'all all enjoy it. Remember to subscribe and turn notifications on so you know when I post another video. Hope you have an awesome day. I'll see you on the next one.